Hey guys, I'm going to do some of these adjusting entry problems. We went over these 6 problems in class, but I think we'll probably see these again on the test, so they're worth reviewing. So I'll just go through them. And the problem reads, prepare the necessary adjusting entries at December 31st, 2018 for the microchip company for each of the following situations. Assume that no financial statements were prepared during the year and no adjusting entries were recorded. On October 1st, 2018, Microchip lent $90,000 to another company, and note will be signed for principal of 8% interest to be paid on September the 30th. Okay, so the first thing I like to do when I'm doing adjusting entries is I like to understand the original entry, and then that way we'll be able to adjust it to the correct balance as of December the 31st. So on October the 1st, 2018, we lent $90,000 to a company, and they signed a note, so we got a notes receivable for the amount of $90,000, and we also got, let's see, and we also got we gave out cash for $90,000. Okay. Now, at the same time that we lent out that money, we also created the possibility to earn interest. So we got interest revenue, but on the 1st of October, we didn't get any interest revenue because we just loaned out the money. So that's zero. And we also would have had interest receivable, and that's zero. So you can think of that as like when we opened up the loan, we opened up a receivable account, getting ready to receive that interest revenue and getting ready to receive that interest receivable. But on the day that we opened it, obviously it's going to be zero, but the next month it will go up, and the next month and go up, and then finally on 12/31, 2018, we're going to receive that money. So our interest revenue is, we got to calculate it, equals 90,000 times the rate, which is 0.08, and we multiply that times the number of months that they've had it. They had it in October, they had it in November, and they had it in December. So that's 3 months. Oh, wait a second, that can't be right. 3 months out of 12 possible months. So that's $1,800 of interest revenue. And then we got to update that interest receivable account to $1,800. So even though these two balances are zero right here, it's useful to create them in the beginning transaction, so that way you know to adjust them later on 12/31, and that will create your adjusting entry. For me, it helps to think of it that way. Okay, so the second one, on November the 1st, 2018, the company paid its landlord $6,000 representing rent for the months of November through January. Prepaid rent was debited. Okay, so what happened in the original transaction? On 11/1/2018, we paid $6,000, and prepaid rent was debited. So let's go ahead and make prepaid rent. Debit 6,000. And then we credit cash. Okay. All right. Now December 31st comes around, and we need to know how much of that rent we actually used. So we paid 6,000 for November through January, so we used November, and we used December, so that will be 4,000. That's our rent expense. $4,000, and credit prepaid rent. $4,000. Oh. So we got a 2,000 balance. All right. Next transaction. On August the 1st, collected $12,000 in advance rent from another company that is renting a portion of Microchip Factory. The $12,000 represents 1 year's rent, and the entire amount was credited to rent revenue. Okay, so August 1st, that's 8-1-2018. Okay, collected $12,000, so that's our cash goes up. Okay, and it says the amount was credited to rent revenue. Okay. Now 12/31 rolls around. We got to make our adjusting entry. So we have to. Let's see. We know we're going to have to debit rent revenue. And we got to figure out how much. Portion of Microchip. 1 year's rent. So they use August, September, October, November, December. So that's 6,000. Okay. And then the rest is unearned rent. And that's 6,000. Okay, so that leaves our rent revenue balance at 6,000 because they've only used half. So, okay. Depreciation on office equipment is $4,500 for the year. So, what's the original transaction? Well, on 1/1/2018, we would have recorded a depreciation expense of 0 because no equipment has been used yet. So we don't have any depreciation expense, and our accumulated depreciation is also 0. We're just checking our machines. Nobody's used them yet. But by 12/31/2018, they have used the equipment, and they've used it for $4,500. So our depreciation expense is $4,500, and our accumulated is $4,500. Okay. Now next one. Vacation pay for the year had been earned by employees but not yet paid to them or recorded is $8,000. The company records vacation pay as salary expense. Okay. So on, let's see, I guess it would be 12/1/2018. They've earned $8,000. So our salary expense let's just say they don't get their vacation pay until the end of the year. So our salary expense is 0, and our salary payable is 0. Typically, a company won't give you your vacation time until the end of the year or till your anniversary, and let's just say their anniversary was on the 31st. So on the original transaction would have been on 12/1, their salary expense is 0 because they haven't made it to the anniversary date yet. And our salary payable is also 0. But here comes 12/31, end of the year, and we owe them that vacation pay. So now our salary expense needs to be adjusted to $8,000. Let's see. And our salary payable also needs to be 8,000. Okay. Now, next transaction. Microchip began the year with $2,000 in its assets account supplies. During the year, $6,500 in supplies were purchased and debited to supplies. At year-end, supplies costing $3,200 remained on hand. Okay. So, beginning of the year, what's the original transaction? Well, we would take an inventory on 1/1/2018, and we find our supplies have $2,000 in there, so we'll debit that. 2,000. Okay. And during the year, we purchased 6,500, so we'll just say supplies supplies purchased. That's 6,500. Okay. So that'll give us an ending balance of, I'll just write it out here to the side. Okay. And at the end of the year, supplies costing $3,250 remain on hand. So 12/31, our supplies balance. Well, we need to figure out how much of this $8,500 is used. So we take this minus $3,250, and that'll give us $5,250 supplies expense. That's debit 5,000. And then credit supplies inventory or supplies for $5,250. Okay. Now we did these in class, so I have the solutions hidden here, and I want to make sure I told you correctly, so I'm going to unhide these and just compare the results. Okay, so let's just take a look over here real quick, and now these are just to help you get this answer. So the real answer is interest revenue debit 1,800, interest revenue debit 1,800. Let me just insert a Let me just insert a line there to make things more readable. 1800 debit, 1800 debit, and rent expense 4,000, rent expense 4,000, prepaid rent 4,000, prepaid rent 4,000, and then we have depreciation expense 4,500 debit, depreciation expense 4,500 debit, and accumulated depreciation. And I skipped one here. Rent revenue 7,000. Oh, I put 6,000. 7,000. 7,000 unearned rent revenue. Pardon me on that. And then salary expense 8,000. Salary expense 8,000. Supplies expense 5,250. Supplies 5,250. So these are the correct answers, all except for that $7,000 one there where I put 6,000. But I compared these against the instructor's answers that we did in class before I recorded the video, so it looks like everything's correct. So that's just a brief overview of how you can calculate the adjusting entry by first knowing what the original entry would have been, and then using that information to help you get to the adjusting entry. And it's important to know that not every original entry is going to be an actual amount, but by creating those original entries, it will let you know what the adjusting entry should be. So I hope this helps, guys, and good luck on your test.